Item number 5, presentation of awards. We have a very special award that I'm honored to be able to present this evening for a young man that has served our area for the past 7+ years as the patrol agent in charge. And I'd like to read a little bit about Mr. Ethel, and hopefully I won't get too choked up about it because he has been a friend to the city of Douglas and has been a champion for Douglas, not only while he's here, but where he goes back and visits Washington, D.C. and other places. He always sticks up for us. Patrol agent in charge Dion Ethel was originally sworn in as a federal agent in Tucson, Arizona, as a member of the Ajo Station in the Arizona West Desert on September 17th, 2001, just after the towers fell, and he survived Ajo. So that's a major accomplishment there in itself. It was a difficult and tumultuous time for the nation, but he noted a proud moment to serve his country. Since that time, PAIC Ethel has served more than 2 decades in 4 southwestern border stations, 3 sectors, and the Office of Border Patrol Headquarters in Washington, D.C. PAIC Ethel has served as Border Patrol Agent, Supervisory Border Patrol Agent, Special Operations Supervisor, Field Operations Supervisor, Assistant Patrol Agent in Charge, and Patrol Agent in Charge, and Acting Division Chief, Assistant Chief, and Acting Associate Chief, and Loan Executive to the National Capital Area. PAIC Ethel has led numerous law enforcement missions and initiatives all over the country during his long career, and has been a leader in many other areas such as tribal liaison, environmental stewardship, strategic communications, and intelligence, among others. He's been honored to speak and attend many distinguished locations, such as the White House, and he survived that. Office of National Drug Control Policy, Pentagon, Capitol, NASA, and the National Border Patrol Academy. Notwithstanding, PAIC Ethel has also honorably served this very community for more than 7 years now, protecting our community, Southeast Arizona, and our great nation. His men and women stand watch every day, rain or shine, day or night, to keep our citizens safe. We thank him for his service and support our faithful agents that will continue to serve after he's gone on to retirement. It goes without saying that we appreciate the strong relationship that the City of Douglas and the Border Patrol Station have shared over the years. I think I speak for all of us when I say we have enjoyed working together. As you know, an agent never serves alone, and I would also like to thank PAIC Ethel's family, and especially his wife Sherry, who's here with us today, who has also served and sacrificed over the years. Herself a retired scientist after 26 years, and now top realtor, also served Customs and Border Patrol Protection as a contractor to assist in environmental stewardship and monitoring a number of years back. PAIC Ethel and his wife Sherry are more than contributors to our community and our country. They too are faithful parents and have raised and hosted many children in their home over these many years. They are the proud parents to 4 sons who have faithfully served in the military, 2 nephews, one of which just joined the Navy, and several foster children. He is as committed to his family as he has been to our safety. But now he's retiring. He tells me that he will remain here in Cochise County looking for new ways to serve his community and family, and will devote the next few years to assisting his wife in the real estate market until she gets tired of him. Like I said, he sends him back out. He tells me that it's his turn to give back to her. We wish him good fortune and the best of luck as he opens the next chapter of his long life. Please join me in thanking PAIC Dion Ethel. I'd like to invite the council down to join me as we present this small token of our appreciation to Mr. Ethel. Please. There's
Wow.
Thank you, my friend. I'll shake your hand first. And
Thank
then
you.
we'll pose. Take this off.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, each of you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. And just one last thing, too.
Please, if you'd like to say a few words, you're more than welcome.
Well, first,
Okay.
I'd like to say thank you to the mayor. You know, a relationship's a two-way street, and so you've always been good to us. The city's always been good to us, no matter what mayor served. But particularly, you know, you've been very supportive since day one. We've had conversations, and I appreciate that willingness to support the Border Patrol. We work very hard out there, oftentimes unnoticed because, you know, it's just our job. It's just something that we take for granted, just like you guys and your service and whatnot. It's something that you do, and you do it anyway, even if you weren't recognized. But I appreciate that. I want to give you a small token of appreciation. Inside that card, too, is one of my patches from my uniform.
Gosh. Thank you, my friend.
And behind every good man or woman is another good man. And so, Luis, thank you for always being there, helping us out. Always, you're the guy behind the scenes doing so much good work, and I'd like to present that to you as well. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you
So much. And if you would indulge me too as well. I know Chief Fullen is out, and I wasn't able to see him on his way out. He gave me a nice gift though, and we did get a chance to talk. But if you could present this on my behalf,
I'd be honored.
I would certainly appreciate that to Chief Fullen. He's been an outstanding partner, truly.
I agree. Thank you.
And of course to the community and everybody out here too. I just appreciate all the support that we've been given. Appreciate your continued support. Just because I'm leaving, the Border Patrol's not. There'll be a lot of folks behind me who will continue to serve this community, and I hope you'll extend that same friendship and support to them. They'll certainly need it. We're shorthanded like everyone, and these are trying times for everyone, but they're working hard for you. In fact, just yesterday, it was my last day on horseback out in the field. I took one last opportunity, despite everybody telling me, "Don't do it, you're going to get hurt." But I did go out and work with the men and women out there, and boy, they are hard chargers to the end. It was kind of an interesting day. There was no complaining, no whining, nothing but good hard work. PAs working with PAs out there in the field. And it was just like I started in the very beginning. So it was a great day. And that's what I'll take home. And I'll take home these friendships and memories of working out here. I'm still going to stay in the community, obviously. In Cochise County, we'll continue to live here. This is our forever home. So we like it that much. But thank you again.
Thank you.
And thank you to each of you. Thank you for your service.
You know, Deanna and Sherry, I know the most wonderful thing you always want to do on Wednesday evening is go to a city council meeting, but please, you will not hurt anybody's feelings if you leave.
I'm going to take my wife to dinner tonight. I think she earned it.
Yep, I would agree.
Thank you so much.
Especially seeing how we have the college president talking.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be very entertaining. Thank you, sir. Thank you for what you do as well. Thank you.
Item number 6, presentation, discussion, decision on A, approving the establishment of the City of Douglas Charter Review Committee. May I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mrs. Morales.
I move that Mayor and Council approve the appointments. Can you listen?
Please.
Okay. For Mayor, Melissa Dye. For Ward 1, Sylvia Hurtado. Ward 2, Fernando Morales. Ward 3, Linda E. Dodge. Ward 4, Diego Ferrero, Ward 5, Scott Lehman, Ward 6, Fernando Betancourt, to establish the City of Douglas Charter Review Committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Morales, second by Mr. Valdenegro to approve the appointments as presented. Any discussion? I want to take this time to thank each and every one of the members of this committee. It always does my heart good to see the people of Douglas step up and want to help out and as review our charter and be able to hopefully propose some changes to the voters next year. So we truly appreciate that. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton, Councilmember Valdenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Again, I have, for those that were able to make it this evening, we have some certificates of appointment that we'd like to present to you at this time. And Mr. Grijalva, could I get you to help me be able to present these? Is Sylvia Hurtado? Fernando Morales. Fernando's here. Linda Dodge, and many of you, that's Fernando right there. You may not recognize the term Linda because we all know her as Leah, but her given name is Linda, and so it's official, so I have to do that. Thank you, Leah. I didn't see Mr. Lehman here.
Can you stand?
Yeah, Leah, if you could stay for a picture real quick.
Thank
I appreciate it.
Yeah, let's see. Is there any more that you can read?
That's it that I thought may be here tonight. I know the rest of them aren't. Thank you, Fernando. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Just a little background on the Charter Review Committee. Our charter calls for appointing the committee and the bylaws, the way the committee's been set up, with a representative from each ward and also one from the mayor as a whole. So we truly appreciate that happening. Item number 7, presentation discussion. Item 8, Hispanic Heritage Month proclamation. We haven't had a chance to have a meeting since Hispanic Heritage Month began, so I'd like to take the opportunity to read this proclamation at this time. Whereas for more than a century, the city of Douglas has embraced a diverse culture interwoven with the Mexican culture. And whereas the Hispanic community is a dynamic, valued part of our city and a vital contributor to our economy with an entrepreneurial spirit, a strong work ethic, and an unwavering belief in the American dream. And whereas Hispanic culture shapes the city of Douglas community and influences our art, literature, music, food, faith, family values, thereby enriching our people. And whereas the purpose of Hispanic Heritage Month is to recognize the countless contributions of people of Hispanic heritage to the United States of America. Many people of Hispanic heritage serve as civic leaders, politicians, educators, innovators, healthcare professionals, first responders, scientists, athletes, artists, religious leaders, and more. And whereas Hispanic heritage is interwoven into the city of Douglas and reflects a beautiful array of a distinct culture in our community. Now therefore be resolved that I, Donald C. Hewish, Mayor, and on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim September 15th through October 15th as Hispanic Heritage Month in Douglas, Arizona, and call upon the citizens of Douglas to celebrate the talents, culture, and spirit of Hispanic heritage. Again, I can't say enough that we need to recognize that as part of our community, and it's greatly appreciated, and it makes us unique here in Douglas. Item number B, Cochise College presentation by Dr. J.D. Rottweiler pertaining to educating through a pandemic and what's going on out at the college. Dr. Rottweiler, we truly appreciate you taking the time to come down and visit with us this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, City Manager Pedroza. Thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be with you. Let me just say thank you for your service. It is not an easy time to be in public service, and we recognize your efforts. What makes our country and our county and our communities great is when we get good people participating in our self-governance, and so we appreciate all that you do and recognize that and just know that it is appreciated. I want to just take a little bit of time and update you on some things that are happening at the college, but probably more importantly was to be able to stand before you and address any questions you may have as it relates to our ongoing partnership as we try to move the Douglas community and our entire county and state forward. We recognize that what makes a difference in people's lives are people. And investing in people make families, families make up communities, communities make up counties, county makes up states, states make up our country, and hopefully through all of that, individuals make a difference in the world. And that's really what the college is trying to do. I'm pleased to be joined today by Jennifer Wantz, who is soon to be, on October 1st, our Executive Director for Community Engagement, and also Mr. Abe Villarreal, who on October 1st will become the Douglas Campus Dean. And those are some reorganization things that we want to brief you on a little bit today as the college tries to fulfill some fairly lofty strategic initiatives that we hope will impact this part of the county. I think it is important for you to have an understanding that when we talk about what we've been going through the last 2 years, and I will say it's a pleasure to be with you. For so long we've been distanced and apart as we've gone through the crisis of really 2020 and 2021. I wish I could say it was over, but it's not yet, but we're moving in that direction. I have a history of spending quite a bit of time in some academic research on the Japanese, and so when we think of the word crisis, it comes to mind really in Japanese the word is kiki, and it's made up of 2 characters, and the part that's real interesting is where those characters come from. So that first character you see comes from the word danger, or kiken. So we know within the Japanese and really the Chinese framework of a visual language, they see part of crisis being danger. I think we've seen that. They also see, however, kikai, or opportunity. And so for us, we've been spending a lot of time at the college trying to evaluate this crisis, both as a danger to ensure that we're doing the very best we can to ensure students, faculty, staff, and community safety. But we've also started to look and see what are the opportunities that this provides us. And we've seen some key areas there, and let me address some of those that they specifically tied to the Douglas campus. We realize that our students and our communities need us now more than ever. When we talk about essential fields, essential employees, we know that education is really essential, not necessarily for the education itself, but instead what it produces and the opportunities it provides for people. So I want to talk a little bit about the Southeast Arizona Law Enforcement Training Academy, what we're doing in fire science and in medical services, what we've done in nursing and allied health, aviation, and then a little bit in cybersecurity and virtual reality and how that's going to play out really across our region. When the pandemic hit and we went to a stay-at-home order by Governor Ducey, I put a personal call in and I said, Governor, there's a couple areas where I'm not sure we can have a stay-at-home order. And some of those were in our police academy or the Southeast Arizona Law Enforcement Training Academy, our fire science program, and our nursing and allied health program. These are our first responders at a time of crisis. We needed to make sure that we were addressing the danger, but we were addressing the opportunities, and we knew there were going to be significant opportunities to serve. On this Southeast Arizona Law Enforcement Training Academy, I think an important part for you to understand is it is a partnership. It's a partnership between Cochise College, the Cochise County Sheriff's Office, and all of our local law enforcement agencies. And we're incredibly appreciative of your chief who has worked closely with us to ensure that this program works. But more importantly, we want you to understand the impact that we think it's having in the county. So when you look at what's happened over the course of the 3 years of the police academy, we've trained a significant number of cadets. But if you'll notice, 71% of those come from Cochise County. They'll be serving in Cochise County agencies. You'll see for Douglas, you have 6 that we have trained over the course of those last years. And I know, talking to the chief, you have a number of others that are in the works, and are really proud to provide that. We think locally trained are likely to stay local. And we know if we can pull locally and then we can train them locally, we can impact our communities. I will also say we've been very blessed by the partnership with Douglas PD. You provided for us as an RTO, a resource training officer, Officer Lizette Guerrero, who's did a wonderful job in working with new cadets as they went through this very extensive 19 weeks of training. The Douglas campus is really positioned well for this type of training because we have space, we have housing, and so we're going to begin to really ratchet this training up, and that's one of the exciting things I'll prepare for you as we move forward. Another part you should be aware of is that the college has worked very closely with Arizona at Work, and we are now able, in most instances, to have your cadets go through this training really free of charge by Arizona at Work funding that, which should provide some relief to your city budget, and I know those are always important things to recognize. We also look a little bit in fire science and some of the key things that are happening there. We've seen great success on the number of students who have come through, 100% pass rate. They're employed in your community as well as across the county. When we get into EMS, and it's kind of our EMT training, I provided you really the number of cadets who are currently employed or have graduated out of our Douglas cohort. And this month we graduated 11 paramedics. 3 of those will be employed or working with Douglas Fire. So we continue to try to provide that training that is necessary in your communities. We know that for our communities to be successful, we have to have trained and really well-developed individuals, and the college wants to play a key role in that part. Nursing, I know, is always a key area to look at. I provide you some of the numbers. Cochise continues to be one of the premier nursing programs in the state. Our LPN program was ranked number 3, and our RN program was ranked number 1. You'll see the number of graduates that come out. We're proud to say that over 80% of all practicing nurses in Cochise County have their initial training through Cochise College. We think that's important, as I know this community knows because of your past history. For us to succeed in rural Arizona, we have to have access to health care. And in order to have access to health care, we have to have trained individuals who can do that. The college is proud to really provide much of that training. You'll also see things, so we have a 2-year degree, our RN program, a 1-year LPN program, and then of course our CNA, or Certified Nurse Assistance program, which we do all across the county. Numbers of students in there, really a 1-semester program. Those individuals leave certified and ready to enter into the workforce, and I know they play a prominent role within your community. Another area where I know is specific to the Douglas campus is our aviation program. I know because I received a call from the mayor. There was some concern that the college was getting rid of its aviation program. You can rest assured that's not what the college is doing. Really what the college said was, under the direction of our governing board, we needed to take a really good look at what are the programs we're offering, how can we make them the most efficient and effective so that we can distribute our scarce resources the furthest. So through a revamped structure on our aviation program, we've capped the number of students coming through. And let me share with you why that is. Aviation is unlike any other industry when it comes to training. So in nursing, we can typically do one faculty member to 8 students. In an English class, we typically do 1 faculty member to 18 students. In my field, in the social sciences, we can do 1 faculty member to 40 students. In aviation, it's 1-to-1. When they go up in the plane, it's 1 instructor with 1 student. You then couple that with planes and all the things that are in the overhead. We need to make sure we are the most efficient. And so by setting a cap, really what that cap has said is we will then staff to that max, and we'll provide aircraft or a fleet to that. And so by setting that, it's going to allow us to bring in a new fleet. We anticipate a new fleet to come in. Contract's been signed to begin late December, early January. The cohort is full. Our faculty are well staffed, and we have amazing partnerships with the regional airline companies for our cadets to move directly from training at Cochise College, acting as a flight instructor at Cochise College, directly into a pilot position. It is done in advance. They're actually considered seniority while they're working for the college. We're excited about that program and where that takes us. The other area where we're starting to see significant interest, and I know it'll be important to this community like it is in all the others, deals with cybersecurity. We are struggling as a country, as a nation, as it relates to securing important data. The college is out front with really one of the premier programs in cybersecurity so that we can work really in local areas to make sure that your data, your networks are secure and safe, as well as the colleges and many others. Direct work employment opportunities of almost all agencies, but we know that there's a high need for this on Fort Huachuca. College partners very closely with the University of Arizona College of Applied Sciences and Technology to provide really a state-of-the-art program, completion from associate's degree on through a bachelor's degree and soon into graduate level programming. The other area that we're working hard in and kind of out front is in virtual reality. You're probably very familiar that virtual reality is working a lot in the gaming industry. We're seeing really, and COVID has really accelerated a real desire for this in education areas. And so this is a program that will develop curriculum that can then be presented both from the elementary school all the way through college and university. We're using VR in our nursing program, in our mechanics program. There's just so many things you can replicate if you use the virtual tools that are provided. So when we really talk about some of those key programs, and I've just touched on a few, we continue to provide all those services out at the Douglas campus. We just know that even though we may be in a crisis, we can leave nothing for tomorrow that can be done today. And so we continue to try to be really active in trying to impact the future. Another area where we know is we've got to rise to the challenge. While that opportunity is there, can we rise to it? And we've really let out some key strategic initiatives. And let me address some of those. During the pandemic, we took the opportunity to reevaluate and reaffirm the college's mission, vision, and guiding statements. And out of that, as our staff went through much of that discussion, what really came out really heavy was community engagement. So beginning October 1st, we will restructure some of the college, elevate some positions, and rethink how we can engage in the community, not only academically, but economically, as well as through community service. And so one of those exciting initiatives is we will soon, on October 1st, it's already been announced, Abe Villarreal will be the campus dean for the Douglas campus. He will then have responsibilities as the administrator in charge, but more importantly, he will answer through community engagement. So he hasn't found this out yet, but he works for you, Mayor. We need to make sure that we're addressing your needs. You'll probably see him at many of your meetings, many of your other things. So because we need to know what the city's doing. Where are you going so that we can be shoulder to shoulder with you to support your initiatives to really make things happen. The city's been a great partner. We do things through the bus service, through other things. The college is ready to step up and really engage. Some of our academic programming is requiring hours of engagement, either at the college or in the community, and so we want to do more there. He'll be led under a new structure of really at a cabinet level position that Jennifer Wants will hold around community engagement. We're really talking county-wide. So things like Cochise Cares, many other of our strategic initiatives, we're going to try to utilize through this new structure. Another key area you'll see is enhanced facilities. Now I've provided for you a piece of our 2019 district plan. I provided you the piece that comes related to the Douglas campus. We've done fairly extensive work in trying to evaluate all the facilities across the district so that we can spend our dollars the very best. I think it's important for the council to know that over the course of the last 12 years, my tenure as college president, we spent over $20 million in new construction, remodeling on the Douglas campus. We see it as an incredibly important asset. You'll see in there two plans that were provided to us by consultants, which was really grow and enhance the campus, or the other one talked about right-sizing it based upon what's in there. The things I'll announce to you today are going to show it's really option A that we're going with. We continue to struggle a little bit, though, on the Douglas campus in the sense that we currently have about 800 students utilizing the campus, but the campus is built for 2,000. So we've got to find some ways to get more students on the campus, and we think we can do that through some unique programming, and I'll address a little bit of that as well. The other struggles we have is it's a 60-year-old facility, soon to be 60 years old. Deferred maintenance and those things become real key. One of the other struggles we have is it's 10 miles from Douglas, it's 10 miles from Bisbee, and we have to operate it as literally our own little city. So I know some of the pressure things you have related to sewer and water rates and all those other things. Well, I don't deal with rates. I still have to deal with my own water company, my own sewer company, and now my own broadband company. We will soon submit a grant through Sun Corridor to bring broadband to the college. That has been a long struggle over the last 10 years, but through a partnership with APS, with Sun Corridor out of the University of, out of Arizona State University, a grant has been written, and we're going to do some things that will fundamentally change our campus, because today technology drives everything. Now, we've been able to provide it, but we do it through a microwave system. So coming off of our campus to D Hill and then into the pipe, or the other way, we go over the Mule Mountains into Sierra Vista and into CenturyLink. We've done that so that we had redundancy and other things. This will be get direct fiber. If we don't have to do that as a microwave system, we think that will be value added for our campus. We've also enhanced fairly significantly a number of facilities, and if you've not been out on campus, I would welcome the opportunity to provide you a tour and show you some of the things we've done, from the Student Union to the Art Fab building, to a new greenhouse, to a pit fire, stage, and auxiliary things. And I might mention, if you have an opportunity to come out to this Friday, beginning at 5 p.m., which is really when the doors open, will be the pit fire. It's an amazing event that we're proud to do on the Douglas campus. It scares the president a little bit because we start a really, really large fire, but I'm assured all is good, all is well. It's really a celebration of the arts. So under that large pit fire will be ceramic pieces from all around the world. And it's quite a celebration to see how that works. This area of the state has a long history in taking clay and solidifying it through fire. And so we celebrate our long history with really some outstanding artwork. There will be soup available, so you can buy your bowl. You can get unlimited soup and bread. You can listen to great music, and you can just have a wonderful time. I think it's a great opportunity for your community to come out. The Student Union updates, we've used
Dr. Roweller,
yes.
If you put a pig down in that pit first, I think you would appreciate the fire a little bit more.
Yeah, as you can see by my physique, I have not missed very many pig fries. So yes, I think that's an opportunity that is there. Please come out, and I'll be there celebrating with everybody else. Fireworks, free to the public. Come out and enjoy the college in one of our signature events. The other key area that we talk about in there is really our strategic anchors. So a number of years ago, we talked about strategic anchors for the Douglas campus. What are those things that we can do at Douglas campus that we probably can't do in other places? Now, that doesn't mean we don't do all of our other general education and those things in there, but there's some things that will always kind of be tied into what has historically been the 4 A's: aviation, art, athletics, and agriculture. And you've seen an investment in agriculture with a greenhouse. We've upgraded all the facilities for art. We've upgraded the facilities for athletics. We're now seeing this new area, which is in academy. And what we're really talking about is the First Responder Academy. And I provided you another sheet, which is hot off the press this morning, an initial concept. So the college worked really hard over the last year with the state legislature, and we were appropriated an additional $6 million for the development of the First Responder Academy. This is going to build off of our police academy by including an academy format fire science as well as emergency medical. We're also seeing an interest in dispatcher academies. We're going to leverage the assets of the Douglas campus, which includes housing, wide open spaces. We can start fires. We can do things that you wouldn't typically want to do in an urban area. We're proud to say this is going to be built here. You can see roughly where that lays out on the campus. It's going to tie closely to Chiricahua Hall. And I know Chief Fullen will be happy to know he's participated in our initial meetings. We're going to set it up so that we can do interagency training. It will be a one-stop shop for the integration of police, fire, as well as medical services, border patrol, really a place to train in lots of different scenarios, as well as train individual students who are interested in those first responder areas. The last part I kind of wanted to just address as it relates to our rising to the challenge is our goal is to try to be a good partner. And there's some things that we saw during the pandemic that I think you should be aware of. The college donated all of its PPE. And it's kind of interesting. We had significant PPE when you go around all of the areas, from athletics to our nursing program. All of that was donated through the county to agencies that were in need of that. We also have 11 ventilators. Those 11 ventilators were donated through the county to the various agencies to utilize. I did receive, unfortunately, a text at different times letting me know from hospital CEOs, just would say, JD, just want you to know one of your ventilators is being used to save one of our neighbors. Isn't it great when communities come together? Now, it is great and it warms my heart to know that we came together and the college participated in that. It's too bad it had to be through somebody's tragic situation, but the college continues to provide that. Might be interesting for you to know that the college had more ventilators than were currently in the county at the time that this occurred. So we're seeing the role. Part of that coming out of nursing, our EMT program, our respiratory therapy program, we made all of those things available. Also made, unfortunately we didn't need, the Douglas campus was assessed and evaluated by the county as a potential place to put at-risk healthcare workers. If they were working in hospitals or clinics, if they didn't want to take home potential exposure to their families, we made the Douglas campus available. We were glad that that did not need to be done. And then we also utilized our downtown center in Sierra Vista as a potential hospital overflow. The other part, nearly 12,000 vaccinations were administered by the college's nursing, paramedic, and medical assistant students, in fact, across the county. Some of those here in Douglas. We took great pride in making those available, our students and our faculty, to help during this difficult time. The other part I'll share a little bit in there, it relates to, I know, an issue that's high on your list in my discussions with the mayor, the Douglas Port of Entry. Cochise College hosted, in conjunction with you, Congresswoman Kirkpatrick, as well as Senator Kelly, as we tried to work through those critical things, and we keep our fingers crossed that that will turn out good. That will be a game changer for the entire county. I know it'll be a game changer for your community. As part of that, we participated with the city and the county in an infrastructure analysis. We would love nothing more than for you to be able to bring your water and sewer to our Douglas campus. We're tired of running our own city. We would love to just pay you a fee to have that stuff taken care of. That's how things are going to get done, is by sharing and doing partnerships. The last area deals with program development. Part of the reason we brought Abe in as a campus dean is to look at program development on the Douglas campus, and we want to be responsive should that port of entry come in. As part of that First Responder Academy, you'll see a driving range. Now, that driving range is primarily to train first responders how to work in high-speed environments, but it'll also become a perfect driving range for CDL programming. It'll become a perfect place for things around logistics, warehouse operations, and we're utilizing some of those dollars that we have saved out of aviation. The board said, let's take some of those dollars that we've invested historically in aviation to serve 40 students. Most of them are not employed in our county because that's the industry. Let's take half of those dollars as we reconfigure that program and spend it on new programming on the Douglas campus. So you're going to see some new program rollout, whether that be in diesel technology, CDL programming, warehousing, logistics, all of those key things around supply chain management that we think the future is really bright on. So for us, in the end, every day is a new day, and we're going to continue to look at that as a new positive, a new opportunity to impact our community as we try to fulfill our lofty mission, which is really about providing those educational opportunities that lead really to 4 key things: social responsibility, community engagement, that new term we were talking about, meaningful careers, and lifelong learning. And we're excited to partner. We think the future is really bright. If we can get the whole pandemic thing under control, move beyond the whole kiki, the whole opportunity and the whole danger, if we can move beyond that, where we're just concentrating on opportunity, we think the future is very bright, and we look forward to doing that with you. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Thank you, Dr. Rottweiler, and we appreciate you raising the bar because it's helped us also realize that we need to do the same. And so as we move together forward, we appreciate the leadership that you have shown, not only to us, but for the entire county. Council members, any questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Grijalva.
I just wanted to, again, this is exciting to bring, we're looking into the future instead of just in the now. And I also wanted to congratulate Mr. Villarreal. You mentioned that he would have to be coming to the council meetings. He comes to the council meetings and he's part of groups like the Douglas Educational Council. I think you picked a great representative that's already involved in the community. But everything, all this is excited, and I can't wait to work with all of you to advance our community. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Grijalva, thank you for those comments. We believe Abe's going to bring some value added. We're aware of many of those impacts, and so what we want to try to do is take the things we're doing, add to that, and really have a greater impact. So thank you for noticing that.
Thank you. Mr. Valdenegro, did you have something?
I just want to know if we're going to offer anything in the drone program at the reach.
So, Mr. Mayor, Council Member, thank you for that question. We've got quite an extensive stuff in drones. Now, let me share with you what happened. I think the college got a little out in front of that. If you'll remember, the college for years has had a partnership with Northrop Grumman. And so we developed really a drone program in anticipation of the FAA coming out with really advanced regulations for the integration of unmanned systems into the national airspace. So we were talking drones at a much larger level. What the FAA came back with was what more Part 107, which was really small, under 40 pounds, have to stay within eyesight and have to stay under 400 feet. You can't fly them by the airport. We've been providing that training for years. We're hopeful that the future, and we're prepared for it, that the future is going to be more about integrating larger things that come into agriculture. Right now it's really primarily an eye in the sky, but at some point can we provide pesticides, herbicides via drone? Can we begin to move things and do things? We're ready to do that. We're waiting a little bit on the FAA. The Douglas campus has a COA, a Certificate of Authorization to fly any currently approved drone within our college campus. So we're positioned well to go. What we really need is business and industry to develop as that moves forward.
The intelligence of Fort Huachuca and Cochise College, can you get a partnership there to speed up this process?
Thank you. So actually we have that partnership. Currently right now the college trains and graduates about 150 United States Army unmanned systems pilots and another 150 mechanics. Now that's at that higher level. They currently fly that primarily in restricted airspace. The question is going to be at what point does that move more into national airspace? And that's that part we're kind of, so we have all that. Currently in almost any United States Army drone pilot that leaves Fort Huachuca will have about 45 college credits from Cochise College. We have integrated that directly into our aviation program, so they'll leave with a ground school and some of their flight ratings through Cochise College. But for that full integration into our national airspace is going to take a little bit of federal work. And if you're kind of following, federal work has kind of slowed down a little bit, but we're hopeful they're going to get that stuff turned around. We may have been a little too far out in front. We are offering much of that, though, under the Part 107, which is the smaller things used for real estate and some of those other areas, photography, those kinds of things.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Rottweiler, we're extremely appreciative of your time of coming down here, and we are also appreciative to give us aid. And he's known him since he's been a little bit younger, and he's always been a fine young man, and now he's a fine grown man. And we appreciate having him here in our midst.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate your time and your efforts. Thank you.
Safe travels. Item number C, presentation by Monica Miranda, Finance Manager, pertaining to the end of the year financials. Ms. Miranda. And you guys can also be excused from Coach's College if you want. You will not hurt anyone's feelings.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the fourth quarter financial status report for fiscal year 21. And I'm pleased to report that as you'll see through the presentation, the city ended the year in a fiscally strong position despite having to weather through the COVID pandemic. As of June 30th, our cash reserves ended in a sound and positive position. The general fund reserve ended at $7.879 million, while our restricted cash reserves ended as follows. HERF, which is our Highway Users Revenue Fund, also known as our Streets Fund, at $1.049 million. The CARES Act capital projects. The capital projects we were able to complete due to the CARES Act freeing up funding in fiscal year 21 at $335,825. Our fund balance capital projects, which were approved by council in January of 21 at $366,414. Our contingency reserve at $1 million. The RICO reserve at $267,087. The debt service reserve at $12,618. Our Alex Black Fund Reserve, which is a donation restricted for the use of providing aid to the families of City of Douglas firefighters who pass away while in the line of duty, which we hope we never have to use, at $145,366. And our self-funded insurance claim reserves at $685,704. Our total restricted cash position at June 30 is $3.862 million, for a combined general government cash position of $11.74 million. And this is really great news. This next slide is a graphical representation of our general fund unrestricted cash position from 2012 through 2021. As depicted, our unrestricted cash balance has been trending upwards for the past 2 fiscal years. The next few slides portray our sales tax revenue for fiscal year 21 compared to fiscal year 20. Despite the COVID pandemic, resulting border restricted crossing, and the loss of our border contractors, we have thankfully continued to trend above fiscal year 20 figures. We anticipate this to continue during fiscal year 22, perhaps not on as great a scale as the chart indicates during the early part of fiscal year 21, but still higher than prior year tax revenue collections.
And Monica, these are adjusted to put them at the right comparable rate that we had in the previous fiscal year.
Right. This slide compares actual sales tax revenues on a month-to-month basis for fiscal years 20 and 21, as well as monthly budgeted to actual sales tax revenue collected in fiscal year 21. As illustrated in the table, we ended the year at $1.55 million, or 21.2% above actual revenue collected in fiscal year 21 compared to fiscal year 20. And $2.138 million, or 32% above our fiscal year 21 budgeted revenues. This next table demonstrates a breakdown of sales tax revenue collected by tax category. There are some very large differences from fiscal year 20 in several of the categories. Advertising is up 120%, largely due to an increase in advertising efforts by our 3 main filers for this category in fiscal year 21. Publication is down 94.8% due to the loss of a major filer for this category. Printing is up due to one filer who actually filed a large return in one of the months for fiscal year 21. And contracting is down due to several large projects reaching completion and the vendors no longer filing on them. Smaller projects continue, however, as smaller tax return filings remain consistent. Also, the effects of the marketplace facilitated filings due to the 2018 Wayfair ruling are apparent as the marketplace sales for food for home consumption increased 123.5% and marketplace retail sales increased 200.1% from fiscal year 20. Additionally, the use tax increased 128.1%, and this may also be influenced largely by filers who, due to the Wayfair filing, may be incorrectly filing in that category versus the marketplace facilitated tax categories. Overall, our sales tax revenue continues to trend above prior year amounts. We're hopeful, again, that this continues in fiscal year 22 and future years. However, due to the loss of the border contractor and the extended border crossing restrictions, we'll continue to monitor and report to council on the after effects of these 2 factors and the influence they have on the sales tax revenues coming in.
Can you explain what Wayfair is for some of the folks that may not be familiar with that?
Wayfair, the 2018 Wayfair ruling was a lawsuit that was brought to the courts because they were trying to file. They were told that they had to file a use tax or the use tax on the sales that were being done online, and the courts ruled.
It basically on a national level made certain filers and certain thresholds mandatory to file sales tax, basically. So before it was on a voluntary basis.
Right.
This court ruling made it mandatory for certain thresholds, and here in Arizona it was adopted. A business that does more than $100,000 must file sales tax now if they're online.
There were some who were filing under the use tax category, but now that the category has switched to the marketplace facilitated.
And if I could add, council may remember when we talked about the state trying to reduce our state shared revenue. And this was part of the reason why they thought they could do that, because they're saying, yo, you're getting money from Wayfair. And so therefore, we don't need to give you as much. And we said, you're getting it also, still give it to us.
This next table depicts the actual revenue to expenditures and remaining balances for each of our major funds for fiscal year 21. The general fund ended with a remaining budget balance of $2.715 million. The HER fund has a remaining actual revenue to expenditure balance of $1,661. The LTAF, which is our transit fund, at $175,126. Our self-funded insurance fund ended at $11,537. Water at $300,774. Sewer ended at $2.3 million. Sanitation at $168,624. And our capital projects, airport, and golf funds each ended the year with balanced actual revenue to expenses. In total, our funds ended fiscal year 21 with a combined remaining balance of $5.67 million. The general fund remaining budget balance at the end of fiscal year 21 is $2.715 million, which is a large increase from fiscal year 20 and 19, and affirms that the city ended the year on a very healthy and fiscally sound note. Our positive position at the end of fiscal year 21 can not only be attributed to the aforementioned increase in sales tax revenue, but also largely due to the efforts and hard work of our leadership and our staff. And thank you. If you have any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Fernandez. Any questions from council?
Mayor?
Yes, please, Ms. Morales.
On the online sales tax that you receive, do you get that, is that paid like monthly, or do we have to wait for that to come in? How long do we wait for that?
It comes in monthly. Every month we get it. The periods that they're filing for, it just depends on the filers. It can be, for the prior month, like for September, we're getting August filings, and we can even get July. It just depends when they're filing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you very much. Of course, if you do, question comes up, 3 o'clock in the morning, don't call, write it down, and then call tomorrow, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please.
just want to emphasize that we did end up in the general fund in a very positive note, as stated by Ms. Miranda, at $2.7 million. So we'll be bringing to the council, as we had said in the budget, is that our surplus in the prior year will go towards some employee bonuses, as well as addressing some capital one-time needs. So we'll be bringing those forward to the council.
Thank you. And we're also going to be very conservative regarding whether the restrictions at the border remain in effect through the holidays. So
It's a good point, Mayor.
So it's we have to balance that out and be prudent in all our actions. Item number 8, discussion decision on approvals of ordinance. Item A, second reading of ordinance number 21-1137, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, amending Article 12 of the Streets, Sidewalks, and Public Places Code relating to the regulation of parks and recreation areas, establishing miscellaneous rules of conduct, setting forth violations, and providing for enforcement and penalties, establishing severability of components of ordinance, and establishing an effective date thereof. Ms. Smith, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the second reading of ordinance 21-1137, amending Title 12 of the Douglas Municipal Code. The purpose of this amendment is seeks to establish miscellaneous rules of conduct for our parks and rec facilities, set forth violations, provide for enforcement and penalties for the legal backing for our parks and recreation amenities. Essentially, it's giving us the teeth that we need to enforce the rules that are already posted at our parks and recreational facilities. It also sets forth rules of conduct that aren't currently present in our code. One prime example is the newly resurfaced tennis courts and the concerns with non-tennis activities taking place inside those courts. Currently, it's a challenge to address those violators that are not adhering to the rules because the parks and police don't have that legal support to do so. That's the same for the public concern. If a member from the public sees misuse at the courts and they call PD and respond, all they can do is really address the person, reference the rules, and we have no legal backing for citations. This amendment will allow police to enforce these type of rules that we have posted, especially when they're outside of our hours of operations for our park staff. I would also like to clarify, amendment to Title 12 is not to restrict use for public amenities and push that control. Rather, it's to provide staff with the tools to be able to take care of our amenities that are currently here. We are proud of our parks, our open spaces, and the amenities that are available to the public. This will allow the public to continue to use the facilities while following the rules, using the amenities at their safe discretion for everybody involved. Also, the intention is to leave this broad and not necessarily state every single rule to each amenity, which will give staff the flexibility to modify in any instance that we need to. It's also going to help us as we anticipate upcoming projects, like the dog park is one example. We've already worked with the Humane Control to establish what those can be. But it will allow us, once we do establish these amenities, to be able to modify them later on. And this is pretty common in most Arizona cities. They don't really state each rule of an amenity. They reference how the code supports that enforcement. Additionally, after hearing from the public after the first reading, we were able to implement the small model rockets into our code to allow that for hobbies like for the public. And at this point, if the staff is recommending the amendment to Title 12 for the DMC as presented, please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Morales.
I move that Mayor and Council approve the second reading ordinance number 21-1137 and to place it on third reading by number and title only with modifications as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Morales, second by Mr. Grijalva to approve the second reading of ordinance number 21-1137 and to place it on third reading by number and title only with modifications as presented. Any questions or comments?
Mayor,
Yes, please.
Ms. Smith, is there an ordinance or a rule that coincides with like model airplanes or something like that? Model cars?
Mr. Mayor and Councilmember Grijalva, the code does cite the National Aeronautics for Rocketry. Give me just a second. But it must adhere to those regulations that are already established.
Okay, so that's included.
Yes.
And that little model cars you have, when you drive around or something like that, that would be okay?
I'm not too sure, but I
Mr.
think
Lindeman, these are for activities of use of open space, such as drones and model rockets that require that open space ability. But cars do not fall under that category, so they can be utilized, so long as it's being utilized correctly. So this is not being regulated here. It's only the drones and flying objects that require that type of open space.
I was just wondering if we were going to limit the activities of people that just want to use the park.
Not through this ordinance. We're actually opening up those activities
Okay,
for
thank you.
the use of drones and things like that.
Thank you.
And Councilmember Lindeman, that's our intention, is to really just set codes of conduct, but the open spaces are available for that. as long as it meets the guidelines that we have established, the codes of conduct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva, Mayor Pro Tempore Morales,
Yes.
and Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries.
An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, amending Article 12 of the Streets, Sidewalks, and Public Places Code relating to the regulation of parks and recreational areas, establishing miscellaneous rules of conduct, setting forth violations, and providing for enforcement and penalties, establishing severability of components of ordinance, and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. Item number 9, adjournment. May I have a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Morales.
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Valdenegro. I know Mr. Shelton's not here to second that. Motion by Mrs. Morales, second by Mr. Valdenegro to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by nay? The ayes have it. We stand adjourned at 6:32.